So do you guys want to see a rematch of Kruzaro and Biankowski? Just a question I'm going to throw out there. I do. It's not for the reason of controversy. Kruzaro won that fight fair and square. Not because of technical difficulties in that sense. I want to see the rematch. I prefer to see the rematch purely because we were expected the best stylistic fight of all time, and it was cut short. If you put those guys in the ring for more than a round, oh man, could that fight be good? It's been an unfortunate circumstances for Kruzaro these past two fights because of what happened controversial wise in his last two. I mean, talk about the technical difficulties, the damage scuff. I mean, he still won the fight fairly, but he didn't get to show everything. That might have been one of the shortest fights I've ever seen. And it shouldn't have ended like that. I'm telling you guys right now, that fight would have been so much better if we got more than one round. It could have been fight of the night. I'm going to throw it out there. Jakub and Kruzaro throwing hands. Man, that was exciting for as long as we got. I wish we got longer. The longer we would have got, I think, the more we could judge both fighters. It's really hard to judge them now. You could just say, well, Kruzaro just showed he was the better fighter. He beat Jakub in his own game, which is absolutely true. But what if we let that fight go on for a little bit longer? That's the main question here. I don't care about the decision. I just want to run this back because I just want to see a good fight. I'm excited. I'd be excited for that rematch. I just want to see a good fight at that point. And when you talk about that in the state of the welterweight division, you've got a few contenders, but it's very top heavy. There are very few guys at welterweight that could truly compete for a title. One of those being named Khalid Rashad. However, I'm going to ask you guys something real quick. Do you want to see a fourth Kruzaro Khalid fight in a fight where it's definitely going to be heavily favored Kruzaro? Not many people are picking Khalid in that fight. Based on his past performances, you're thinking, yeah, Kruzaro's dogging him. I mean, what are we even doing here? Or could we get the rematch? It could be a totally different fight, or it could be the same exact fight. I want closure, but I want something that I can savor in for at least a round or two. I'm not trying to come off as picky. I'm not trying to say that it was a failure of a fight. It really wasn't. I just feel like we need to see more. Kruzaro comes back and he does 2 minutes of work. Wow. That doesn't feel like enough, does it? He was off since March. And the only thing he gets to do is 2 minutes of hitting Jakub in the face, knocking him down 3 times. That's how the fight ends. We need more. You look at the state of welterweight, there are not many contenders out there. It's why I've been saying. I mean, it's probably not going to happen. I think I'm pretty sure I know what that fight's going to be. But it's why I've been suggesting put Jakub in there with Khalid. We've done fights where someone's coming off a loss and he fights a guy who's coming off 2-3 straight. We've done fights like that. People coming. I mean, Jakub's a different type of fighter. This ain't no guy who just lost a regular title fight. He was a favorite to win that. People were picking Jakub to win that fight. I think he was like I don't know the odds, but he was definitely a favorite in that one. So it's not like we're talking about someone who was just shoved over. He was a WBA super middleweight champion. And when you look at welterweight, who do you got? Your top 5 is SSI coming off 2 losses. Castle DeVries coming off a loss. Jakub Biankowski coming off a loss. Khalid Rashad and Kruzaro. There's one fight that Raimundo will probably make is that quadrilogy. But I would love to see, man, let me tell you something. I would love to see Jakub and Khalid. 2 of the strongest hitters at welterweight. Would that be great? I want to see that fight. I want to know if you guys do, though. Hell, you can even try and justify it as the main event. I don't care. That's a that's a huge draw of a fight. It's probably not the main event, but that's a damn big draw. I know Khaalid doesn't want to fight in a main card spot. He wants to be the main event. Could you justify Jakub and Khaalid in the main event? No, you can't. And I don't know if we can really justify having the biggest card in RBC history and not having Kruzaro on it. And I know the name value of Kruzaro is so big that we won't have anyone else but him on that card. But him at the main event. He will be the main event. That is for certain. It sucks, but it's true. He is the biggest draw in the sport, and he has transcended the sport unlike anyone we have ever seen. So, you got a bunch of options if you're Raymundo. I bet one only makes sense to him, and that's obviously the quadrilogy. Or, we could go two other ways. You can either get Jakub back in there with Kruzaro, which I would not mind as a main event, or he could sit out for this one. And you have Jakub versus Khaalid in a contenders fight. I mean, I like the fight. Remember, we have no idea what RBC 15 is yet. We're just speculating at this point. It could be a 3-night event. It could be a 10-fight. It could be a whole tournament for... I don't know. Alright? It's going to be something crazy. We know that. Hopefully it's a one-night pay-per-view and we have a bunch of titles on the line and it's just like that. However, this is a very, 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 very important night. And I can't wait. This is going to be the biggest event, the most stacked card, and most likely your main event will be Kruzaro versus Khaalid. That's all I can give you guys. That's just my opinion. I mean, Raymundo he's proven me wrong before, and I'm just making a prediction. However, I really do believe that sitting out Kruzaro could be best for the future. And Jakub versus Khaalid, that's a straight up killer of a fight. That basically proves who fights for the title. I mean, that basically proves who the second best in the world is and who could legitimately win the world championship. Jakub can still become two division undisputed. It's gonna take a while to get there. He's gonna have to go through someone. And I think the best fight to make is Khaalid. What do I think is going to happen? I wouldn't mind this. I think it would be the quadrilogy between Khaalid and Kruzaro, and we'll get closure there. And then we'll get Jakub at some point. I gave you my prediction, and I gave you what I want. So what do you guys think? What do you guys want? Do you want what Ray is going to give you? Or do you want something different?